In the subtle presence of Param Pujya Gurudev, Pandit Shri Ram Sharma Acharya Ji and revered Mata Ji, we welcome all our esteemed delegates and guests who have made it a pleasure experience for all of us by gracing this occasion.
In today's spiritual session, we have with us as a chief guest, Her Holiness Amy Blessio Gayatri Devi Ji, our guest of honor, respected Forrest Landrai Ji, His Holiness Jagat Guru Amrit Suryanand Ji, and Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir Sharad Pardhi Ji, and respected Pro Vice Chancellor Sir Dr. Chinmay Pandya Ji, and our dignified Registrar Professor Sandeep Kumar Ji.
Today,
once again, we heartily welcome all our dignitaries present on the dais on this auspicious occasion of 4th International Festival on Yoga, Culture and Spirituality.
Today is the auspicious day of Dashera, which symbolizes victory of good over evil. Navratri, culminating with Dashera, is one such important culture festival that is celebrated during the onset of winter each year. Navratri is celebrated for 9 consecutive days in which devotee worship the desire goddess Shakti in her various forms and praise, O Mother, give us strength to serve mankind, give us power to bring peace in society. O Mother, illuminate our intellect and inspire us towards the righteous path. With this feeling, I may request our music team for Pragya Geet.
शीश झुकाते हैं
Thank you all for presenting such a heart-touching and beautiful Pragya Geet.
Proceeding further, let's take a brief glimpses of Day 1 program. Yesterday, we had the inaugural ceremony in the afternoon in which we had with us many esteemed dignitaries along with Reverend Patrick McCollum-ji, Dr. D.R. Karthikeyan-ji, Swamini Kali-ji, and our Honorable Chancellor Sir, who influenced all of us by imparting their knowledge about yoga, culture, and spirituality. After that, we had participated in a grand lamp ceremony, that is Deep Yagya, in the evening. Then today, in the morning, all the delegates performed Yagya, which is the root of Vedic culture. Then our delegates visited to clean, green, and serene Dev Sanskriti University, and I guess they must have taken the advantage of acupressure park in this spiritual ambience. And after that, our delegates also get knowledge from our scientific sessions, which was held in the morning.
We are glad to have so many great personalities among us, and I feel privileged to introduce one of them, who is CEO and President, Magic Flight and Corporation USA. He is a philosopher, craftsman, and scientist. Forrest Landry has long worked in service and dedication to the earth. It is his passion to help create and evolve sustainability for the planet. He seeks to embrace who we all authentically are as a means to restore the balance between humanity, machine, and nature. Today, Forrest Landry-ji is founder and CEO of Magic Flight, and a company who handcrafts the world's smallest portable commercial electric vaporizer from start to finish in San Diego. His sustainable business practices are as innovative as they are rare in the manufacturing industry.
So we'd like to welcome our guest of honor, Forrest Landry-ji, for imparting their knowledge and share their knowledge with us. Please put your hands together.
Namaste. I would like to 700 million billion stars, we begin to appreciate just the sheer magnitude of this world that we have come into. To put this into perspective, I invite you to think about each star as being not just a sun, but also the center of a system of many planets. And that if we were to think about it in terms of this world, that there would be one such system, one such planetary system with its own sun for every grain of sand, for every mote of dust in this world. In other words, every single grain of sand that is here, every single mote of dust that is here in this world is in a direct one-to-one correspondence with an entire system of worlds. And I invite you to think about just the sheer magnitude of that experience that these astronomers have shared with us. And to consider that in the context of the also observed fact that when we're looking out into the universe, we have not yet seen anything indicative of a world similar in any way as ours. In other words, that there is something that is going on this planet which is ultimately and inherently unique. if we look out into the world using these tools, these telescopes, radio telescopes in particular, and there were other life forms developing in the universe, there's a very good possibility that we would have become aware of this. A phenomena similar to what is occurring here on this planet, we are left with the inevitable conclusion that what is going on here is unique on a level of order that is, again, enormous. We are talking of 7 base 10 to the 26th magnitude. And when we look at the enormity of the difference, life to be here. In other words, in all of that universe, for all of the rest of those worlds, there is not something so simple as the ability to catch a ball, or to look into the eyes of another person and to acknowledge their being. That in a sense, that one of the things that we have at this very moment is a sense of responsiveness. Comparison, the totality of this entire world, you get a sense of the uniqueness that is inherent in what is going on here now. The sheer level of magnitude of that is something which is particularly apparent to me because as a philosopher, I have also spent a lot of time working in the area of computer science. And so we tend to think in terms of their manifest function or their manifest complexity. As part of that research, I came to investigate what it was that is the actual bandwidth of human perception. If you take the totality of all of the visual stimuli that crosses the retina, that essentially enters the body, all of the acoustic information that enters through the ear, all of the sensory information that we receive through our skin, our smell, our taste, it comes to about 10 to the 18 bits per second. That is an enormous amount of information. It is essentially the aggregate equivalent of the total traffic of the internet the world over, speaking today. When we think about it from a complexity point of view, and I'm saying, okay, what sort of substrate would be necessary to support a bandwidth of 10 to the 18 bits per second? As an analyst, I would say, well, the system itself would need to have a complexity of at least 10 to the 9. In other words, that the system would have to have a level of complexity that was effectively equal to this entire room filled with software code. If I were to print it out, it would be essentially this entire auditorium to document. And when you take a look at the genetic sequence, it turns out that we have roughly 3 million base pairs in the DNA sequence, and that is not including all of the specific symbiotic relationships that exist in our bodies. We have many other cells that are other than just our own that in our ability to digest foods contribute to our overall survival. And that if you include all of that, that effectively the level of complexity associated with our being here, any single one of our bodies, balanced with the ecosystem itself, you're dealing with something which is probably of the 12th magnitude. In effect, when we're thinking about what is that we are striving for, what it is that is, in the sense, inherent in the nature of life itself, we're beginning to see a correspondence between the level of unicity, the level of uniqueness of what is going on in this particular world relative to all of the rest of the universe. Again, comparing that single mote of dust to all of this planet in terms of scale and size. The preciousness of consciousness is effectively to put on the scale that one mote of dust and an entire planet on the other. And to realize that the nature of preciousness is something that I could not compare by comparing it to diamonds or to platinum or to any material which is conceivable, because no single atom of such material would be as an equal value to the planet if we were just to think about it on a purely materialistic basis. Then in effect, we're looking at a level of singular value that is unfathomable. Each one of us in this moment, in just the sheer ability to be conscious, to be able to perceive the world around you and respond to it in a coherent way, is more divine than I think is possible for me to express other than by making comparisons with lots of zeros behind them. Spirituality, the way I think of it, needs to be put into its proper context. We tend to think of it on a global scale or as a very personal thing. And in a sense, it is that. It is effectively our ability to integrate into ourselves the experiences that we have and maintain our own integrity. One of the things that I have witnessed in coming to India, this is my first time here, is that I have seen many people who have, despite great adversity, have a tremendous sense of humility, have a tremendous sense of integration in themselves. I do not see the depression or the breakdowns that would normally occur in the psyche under the circumstances that would ordinarily entail. The people here specifically have such a high level of personal integration, personal sovereignty, that the connection between that and consciousness is, in a sense, more easily revealed. That is a gift. The gift of consciousness is, in a sense, made apparent in recognition of how we can receive all of the information, take in all of the stuff that we experience on a day-and-day basis, no matter how painful, no matter how difficult, and yet still remain whole and maintain sustainability in that process. That is the beginning of true wisdom. For in life, there are three things. There is consciousness, there is sustainability, and there is evolution. For life is at once all three. I invite you to recognize that mankind is at this particular juncture in a very, very unique place. The uniqueness of it I've indicated already by alluding to the sheer impossibility of comparing a single mote of dust to an entire planet. To recognize the uniqueness of what is going on this planet relative to all the rest of the universe that we know. And to recognize that to some extent that we, in our process of beginning through those reflections, to begin to interact with the genetic code, to have such an influence on our environment that we are now beginning to shape the planet itself. That we are no longer just evolving in reaction to what nature has, in a sense, imbued upon us, but that we are now in our consciousness at such a juncture that we are beginning to make choices which affect our destinies. That we are, in effect, beginning to define what this world is and will become. And that in that sense of consciousness that we have, the choices that we make are now, in a sense, world-creating. I invite you to think carefully about what that actually means. We are, in effect, having the same role that divinity itself would have in creating a world. The more effective that we get in shaping the environment around us, the more powerful our technologies become, the more enabled we are to make choices which have long-term ramifications in the overall development of the world itself. Nature is no longer shaping us, it is becoming shaped by us. And so I invite you to understand that in the same way that we have, in a sense, become imbued with a responsibility, if we are going to have the same powers as divinity itself to create a world, to shape, to make choices that define evolution itself, that we need to, in a sense, balance the process of that world creation with the nature and the ethics of life itself, to, in a sense, to embrace the notions of conscious, sustainable evolution in a way that is principled, that has, in a sense, an underlying ethical nature. For the nature of ethics is, in effect, to make choices which are truly beneficial, not just at an individual level, but at a level which essentially is encompassing, which is holistic, which is, in a sense, grounded in the very foundation of the world itself. The notion of ethics to which I refer is, in a sense, something that is not just a personal choice, but has become a transpersonal choice in the sense that now we are, in a sense, trying to define something which is going to endure, which is going to evolve in time, which is, in a sense, going to be a fit container for life. Mankind has thought of itself, as is somewhat habitual and has been indicated many, many times in various descriptions. We have made pollution, we have caused problems in many species. But in order for us to recognize a path out, a new approach, a new possibility, we must begin to understand that in a deeper sense, mankind is a solution. It's a solution to an even deeper problem. Life itself has its own needs. People, particularly in Western cultures, tend to think first in terms of their own needs, and then perhaps maybe in terms of the needs of their species, i.e. human beings, their families. And occasionally, in particularly evolved individuals, we now see a concern for life itself, an ecology, to, in a sense, to perceive whole systems. It's that skill to recognize the balance of all three of these needs, to some extent, that we must have equal attention of personal needs, of species needs, and of life ecology needs, system needs. That in effect, by recognizing that balance as itself being a same manifestation as to be conscious, sustainable, and evolving, that we are in effect trying to enliven that ethics, enliven the discipline. Nature, as I mentioned earlier, has its own plan, has in a sense brought us to this epiphany, to this moment of consciousness. For in a sense, it is seeking a solution to an even deeper problem, a problem that is deeper than just pollution or any of the social ills that we currently find ourselves dealing with. We are in effect being called forward to think about these things in a much deeper way than we ever have before. To, in a sense, to recognize that the spirituality to which we speak, the practices that we need to engage, need to be ones which are affirming of all three needs. And that in effect, nature itself is trying to promote mankind, our species, as a unique consciousness to enable life itself. We are, in effect, a solution to life itself. We are an embodiment of life itself. And in effect, by becoming conscious of an integration with evolution, by, in a sense, practicing these disciplines, these yogas, that we, in effect, come to understand our divine nature as creators, as choosers. We, in a sense, are learning those practices which enable us to be fully and completely, authentically ourselves, so that we can truly be in service in life. That there is a balance, a reciprocity between the three levels of need that I outlined. That in effect, the practices that we engage are the embodiment of the ethics, the embodiment of consciousness, one that allows us to engage in life in a way that truly maintains conscious, sustainable evolution. until we recognize ourselves as the solution, until we become conscious of ourselves as unique beings not just in our individual senses or as a species, but also as a planet in a universe which is otherwise, so far as we can tell, empty of all life. We need to really hold the preciousness of what it is that is here. We need to hold the preciousness with the gentleness with which a mother would hold a child. For we now hold in our hands not only the life of our own selves, but the life of all of those that we touch and the life of the planet itself. And so in sense of holding that gently, holding that with clear intellect and with deep compassion and love, that we are given the ability to, in the expression of our divine natures, infusing that expression with knowledge, with understanding, and with the divine love, that we, in a sense, become that which is fully and truly alive. I salute the divinity within you. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. As one more important thing of forestry land dry, which is that he's also working in the field of scientific spirituality. Thank you very much, sir, for your enlightening words.
To move further, let me allow to introduce you one of the esteemed personality among us, who is Mahamandleshwar Yogacharya Pandit. She is founder and president of CUIDY, of the World Community of Indian Culture and Traditional Disciplines, and of Suryanagar Ashram International Yoga School, Milan, Italy. She is a president of the International Yoga Confederation, Delhi, India. World Movement Indian Fine Arts, Suryanagar, International Yoga School creator and art director of the Great Indian Festival, East Meets West. She is the ambassador of European Yoga Federation, World Movement Yoga, and Ayurveda advisor member of Women International Network, New Delhi, India. And today, Her Holiness Gayatri Devi Ji is going to throw light on the role of women in today's society.
Brothers and sisters, allow me to welcome Her Holiness Emmy Bless You Gayatri Devi Ji to address us. Please put your hand together.
Follow my speaking because I don't speak very well, so you can read. Okay, thank you. Namaste. Today, in this day, is the celebration of the Shakti. So I changed my speaking topic. I want to speak with the woman, because in this time there is also the celebration for the goddess, but not for the woman. So I would like to speak about this. Before, I want to thank Dr. Pranav Pandya. I think now is well, okay? And Didi, Shailbala Pandya, and Dr. Chinmay Pandya to invite me here every year, and in this place that is, you feel the teaching of the founders of this ashram. In every stone, in every flower, and every people is here. I love so much to be here everywhere, because I think here is possible to find the traditional and old culture and spirituality of India. I read because I had to write because my English is not very well. So it's better I read, and you can read also because also pronunciation is like this. So you can read also this. I wrote for you about women also in the PowerPoint. Okay. I hear the presentation of these beautiful girls, but before to be this a teacher of yoga, I am a woman. So I would like, I had the honor of being elected president of 3 organizations that deal with yoga, once a predominance of the male gender, but then now, especially in the Western country, it longer belong to the woman. For example, in our country, most of the women, they follow yoga, and the men think is one thing about women. So sometimes I avoid to follow this important sacred thing is yoga. Now I would like to speak about one subject very hard, the men's violence. Women and men's violence. The problem that seems specific to the West, instead of decreasing, it seems to expand more and more. Strangely, it seems even a pandemic topic that is spreading around the world, also in the Eastern world. In fact, before, this was equally present, hidden in between the walls of houses or monasteries or ashrams. But nowadays, the violence that is perpetrated on a woman, it seems almost a source of pride. People that make violence is proud to do this. Therefore, I think it's time to put a stop to a practice that does not honor the Homo sapiens, and even less those who are on the path of the spirituality. Sometimes yoga teachers who with earnestness allow themselves to attract, or even worse, to use their position, to take pleasure in dirty relationships with their students. So the topic of my speech is the now woman. Let's see what William Shakespeare said about women. The world would be imperfect without the presence of the woman. The woman came out of a man's rib, not from the feet to be trampled on, not from the head to be superior, but from the side to be equal, under the arm to be protected, next to the heart to be loved. Intelligently, Shakespeare said a great truth. You cannot be a couple if one has to carry on their shoulders the other. Quite soon, the one who lies beneath who carry on the other begins to feel the weight, and he or she gives a good shake and throw the partner down. Partner down because it's impossible to take the weight of this thing. It would be different if you were walking side by side with the respect and love. It could be a long walk together if you use respect, esteem, and love. Dennis Diderot was very gentle, more gentle and poetic, and said, when you write about women, you need to dip the pen into the rainbow and to dry the page with the powder of butterfly wings. This preliminary allows me to talk about this sensitive topic. Nowadays, women are not perfectly in their role. The position of women in the society, and particularly in relation to men, has had over the millennia many facets. And now there seems to be a semblance of equality, but it is fictitious. Constraints of a much too close past are too deeply rooted. It's an habit now to be like this, to think they are same, equality, but it's not true. Women find themselves suspended between the real self-consciousness and the conditioning of a society that wants women adhering to the idea that this society has made of them. It is a situation of great confusion. The message of the media paint a picture of the female stereotype and out of the reality, and the woman, while is trying to imitate these stereotypes, built for the needs of market, is losing her essence. At the dawn of the civilization, the woman has had a great importance, and in fact, there was a kind of a matriarchal social system before. Now, the population engaged in that time, the population engaged in agriculture knew the value of sacredness of the feminine and had a very deep concept of the mother bearer of life, beginning with the mother earth, that nourished it from birth to old age, supporting the weight of their footsteps. And they welcome them in her womb, and the time at the final steps. Over the time, the power of the woman, mother, goddess, Shakti energy, was considered a trait by the male, and in the thousands of years, for fear of this great feminine energy. You know, Shakti is a very big energy. Man has always tried to diminish her importance, going so far as to convince the woman to be a byproduct of the nature. To the point that the mothers herself educate their son with much more care than they do with female. In some tribal societies, the woman is even suppressed at birth, considering her a burden and not a value, forgetting that without the female, life and future for our planet cannot exist. In some places, the feminine side is denied, is implementing the horrible practice of infibulation. It is practiced by women themselves, who have received the same oppression. In other parts of the world, where the male power is disguised under religion, it constricts women under a layer of clothes that force them to inhale their own carbon dioxide, causing a lack of oxygen in the lungs, blood, and brain. So as not to tempt them themselves, who do not have enough self-control to resist those temptations, they, instead of reinforcing their power, their own, will decide that it is more and more comfortable to cover the cause of this temptation, the women. The alibi is to protect femaleness from their uncontrolled masculinity. The reason is clear. The man who cannot control his impulses, rather than work on himself to improve and grow itself, control the woman and also try to convince her that is for her own good. She has to hide herself and the lustful and controlled men, ages. The worst is that women are self-convinced or convinced by the man who is good, so good at making women to believe that they want it. They want to create this restriction, wanting to be buried under heavy layers of cloth, which is in addition to the already mentioned problem, do not allow a proper breathing, and that sort of mosquito net at A level to prevent her in bumping into any pile, does not even allow her to enjoy the splendor of nature, while the nature surely shows itself without veils. This method of repression, in the long run, have provoked a rebellion in the woman that is leading to herself to an extreme opposite point, making her to forget her wonderful future. In search of her identity, she risks to missing it, trying to look like a man. And here you are, the women also become a soldier, going the war, in the abasement of her own nature. To the woman born to give life finds herself committed to destroy the life. I do not want to demonize women, trackers, or soldiers, or fighters. It is their choice. But it is important that this choice must not be influenced by wanting to be men. I quote a phrase from a movie of a career woman who, in the end, recites the whole thing saying, try to be a man means wasting a woman. That's right. The woman is wasted. It is because of this mistake of a connotation that today the family is in crisis and even the youth is confused. I thought the man is not very convinced. The woman's role is to maintain with consciousness the union, the peace, the family, bringing up children aware of it. And the man's role is to enable the woman to perform her duty, to respect, to support, and to protect her, not to subdue or rip off the joy of being a woman from her. The lack of this spiritual care backfires the man who feels himself useless without his primary task, the protection of species, and consequently, the family. For this reason, life has given so much physical strength to men in order to protect the sacredness of the woman. On the contrary, man is using this physical strength to crush, subjugate, rape, and even murder. As it is occurring in these dark times, the person who is supposed to protect. Everyone has its own role, and all of the roles are important, from bee to human being, from flowers to stone, from the planet of the galaxy. Everything has its own meaning of existence. In the harmony of creation, the all that is one, the infinite. If we think of being part of an infinite universe, and if the universe is really infinite, who can be said to be higher or lower? What are the parameters for say that? You cannot say it. Sometimes the woman does not realize how important is her sacredness, her energy. Neither man is conscious of it. It will be years before the tamed brain wakes up. Well, my message for women is, be proud to be woman, to be energy, to be female, to be Shakti, and if Natura wants it, even be the mother, since the divine granted the woman a part of his, her, or her power, that of is the creation. And my message for men is, preserve the life and be happy in your job. Respect and protect women. From mother, because the principle, energy, nature, Purusha, and Prakriti, call it as you like, has given you the physical strength, the courage, and the capacity for this important and challenging role, to respect the woman and mother who gives life, is to respect life itself. Om Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastase, 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 Namo Namah. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastase, 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 Namo Namah. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastase, 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 Namo Namah. Om.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing such a wonderful knowledge with us on the role of women in today's society. As our Gurudev also emphasizes on women empowerment, and he also assured that 21st century, women's century.
I want to ask our audience one thing, that have you taken your lunch today? Have you taken your lunch today? Have you taken your lunch today? So please give your presence through your clappings properly. Thank you so much. Proceeding further, let me introduce you to our last speaker, who is the president of the Portuguese Yoga Confederation and of the Yoga Iberian Confederation, and is the founder and honorary president of the Yog Sankhya Institute, aggregated member of the Hindu Dharma Acharya Sabha, and also member of the board of directors of the Council for Yoga Accreditation. In 2014 January, he was granted the honorific D.Litt degree together with the Grand Guru B.K.S. Iyerji by the Bangalore University, S. Vyasa, India, and received the Matsyendranath Award by the Ujjain Yoga Life Society, Ujjain, India.
We feel honored to have such a great dignitary among us. We heartily welcome to Amrit Suryananji to impart his experiences and views. Please put your hands together.
Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Om Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yo Nah Prachodayatu. A Confederação Portuguesa do Yoga e o seu presidente saúdam os ilustríssimos organizadores deste excepcional evento, Dr. Chinmay Pandya, entidades oficiais e santidades presentes, meus colegas, conferencistas, professores e também os afortunados alunos desta brilhante universidade, neste santo local de Haridwar, entre a sagrada Ganga Nadi e os formidáveis Himalaya, sede do Monte Kailasha, morada de Lord Shiva. Agradecemos também profundamente a oportunidade de formação que proporcionam aos nossos estudantes.
The Portuguese Yoga Confederation and its president salute the illustrious organizers of this exceptional event, Dr. Chinmay Pandya. The official entities, holinesses, my colleagues, speakers, professors, and also the fortunate students of this brilliant university. In this holy place of Haridwar, between the sacred Ganga Nadi and the amazing Himalaya, home of the Kailasha mountain, Lord Shiva's abode. We are also deeply grateful for the learning opportunity you have provided to the students of our institution.
Saudamos igualmente Bharata, a Índia, e os seus universais valores. Índia, que recentemente voltou a dar uma lição ao mundo, como um grande líder da ciência do planeta, mostrando uma vez mais um notável feito tecnológico, apelidado histórico pelo seu primeiro-ministro, com a colocação da sonda Mangalyana na órbita de Marte de forma tão extraordinária. Vê-se logo que os cientistas da Índia são vegetarianos e inspirados, compreendendo com clareza as leis do universo.
We salute as well Bharata, India, and its universal values. India, who recently gave another lesson to the world as a great leader in science of the planet, showing once more a remarkable technological achievement referred to as an historical event by its Prime Minister, with the placement of the Mangalyana satellite in Mars orbit in such a remarkable way. We can immediately tell that the scientists in India are vegetarian and inspired, understanding with clarity the laws of the universe.
Há milénios que a Índia mostra conhecer e guardar como símbolos sagrados os mais profundos e estruturantes segredos cósmicos. O que a moderna ciência hoje persegue e tanto deseja desvendar enquadra-se na área do muito pequeno, do subatómico, do subtil. Quanto mais subtil, mais poderoso, afirmamos nós. A filosofia hindu e a espiritualidade há muito guardada e ensinada por Bharata são a chave da ciência moderna de topo e podem contribuir para alargar extraordinariamente as fronteiras científicas na direção correta. Reconhecem certamente este sagrado símbolo cósmico e aqui visualizam a estrutura oculta da nossa Via Láctea.
For millennia, India has shown to know and keep as secret cosmic symbols the most profound and structuring cosmic secrets. What modern science today pursues and wishes so much to unravel fits in the area of that which is very small, the subatomical, the subtle. The more subtle, the more powerful, we state. The Hindu philosophy and spirituality, for long kept and taught by Bharata, are the key of modern cutting-edge science and can contribute to extraordinarily broaden the science frontiers in the right direction. You most certainly recognize this sacred cosmic symbol. You can see here the hidden structure of the Milky Way.
Se juntarmos o maior cientista dos primórdios do século XX, o alemão Max Planck, e os maiores cientistas do final do século XX e do princípio do século XXI, os irmãos russos Bogdanov, todos os três inquietos sobre o que se passou no instante da criação do universo e principalmente o que se passou antes do Big Bang, a que a Índia chama há milénios com muito maior propriedade, Mahaom, reforçaremos esta certeza. Vejamos Max Planck. O que aconteceu no instante do Big Bang, a que os cientistas chamam muralha de Planck, no momento 10 elevado a menos 43 do primeiro segundo cósmico. A dimensão do universo era 10 elevado a menos 33 centímetros, o comprimento de Planck, a menor dimensão possível neste cosmos, hoje designado comprimento da superstring. A temperatura era de 10 elevado a 32 Kelvin, a maior temperatura possível neste cosmos. O universo era um fluido de energia escaldante. Tudo o que existe e virá a existir estava contido nesta super microbija semente.
If we join the greatest scientist of the early 20th century, the German Max Planck, and the greatest scientists of the end of the 20th century and the beginning of the 21st, the Russian brothers Bogdanov, all three of them concerned about what happened in the instant of the creation of the universe, and most of all, about what happened before the Big Bang, what India has called for thousands of years, and with much more propriety, the Maha-Om. We reinforce that certainty. Let us see Max Planck. What happened at the moment of the Big Bang? What scientists call the Planck's wall. At a moment 10 to the minus 43 of the first cosmic second. The universe's dimension was 10 to the minus 33 centimeters, the Planck's length, the smallest possible dimension in this cosmos, today called the length of the superstring. The temperature was 10 to the 32 Kelvin, the highest possible temperature in this cosmos. The universe was a fluid of scorching energy. All that exists and that shall ever exist was contained in that super micro-bija seed.
Os irmãos Bogdanov, Igor, físico teórico, e Grishka, matemático, agora investigam corajosamente o que se passou antes do instante zero, antes do Big Bang. Estruturam esse divino período como o cone cosmológico. Afirmam, o nosso cosmos e as suas leis foram planeados fora deste universo e quando ele ainda não existia, antes do instante zero, o fabuloso meio criador é caracterizado como o seu tempo ser tempo imaginário e, como sabem, o número imaginário é aquele cujo quadrado é um número negativo. É um tempo não cronológico, ou seja, aí não há envelhecimento. E o nosso universo já lá existia, mas sobre a forma de informação, ou seja, foi lá programado. Todas as 6 constantes fundamentais, base do nosso universo, foram lá determinadas, fazendo lembrar a Índia, o Purusha e o seu formidável Manasika, que projeta e estimula a criação, mas sem nela se imiscuir. Depois, numa segunda fase transitória, o tempo torna-se complexo, que é a mistura de tempo imaginário com o nosso tempo real. e a programação revela-se como binária, 0 e 1, e a transição para o nosso universo está aí terminada, fazendo lembrar a Mula Prakriti do Samkhya.
The Bogdanov brothers, Igor, theoretical physicist, and Grishka, mathematician, now boldly research what happened before the instant zero, before the Big Bang. They structure that divine period as the cosmological cone. They state, our cosmos and its laws were planned outside of this universe, and when it still did not exist, before the instant zero. The fabulous creative media is characterized as its time being an imaginary time. As you know, an imaginary number is one which its square is a negative number. It is a non-chronological time, which means there is no aging there, and our universe already existed, but in the form of information. In other words, it was programmed there. All the 6 fundamental constants, the basis of our universe, were determined there. This reminds us of India, of Purusha and his amazing Manasika, which projects and encourages creation, but without blending himself in it. Later, in the second transition stage, time becomes complex, which is a blend between imaginary time and our real time. And the programming is revealed as binary, 0 and 1, and the transition to our universe ends there, reminding us of Mula Prakriti, of the Samkhya.
E em seguida dá-se o Big Bang. O espaço e o tempo cronológico começam e o nosso universo dual manifesta-se até hoje. Aqui encontramos novamente este formidável símbolo cósmico, o Shiva Lingam. Os irmãos Bogdanov afirmam brincando, sempre que a ciência dá um grande salto em frente, sempre que os cientistas aí chegam, já lá está um yogi. E o yogi diz, por que é que demoraram tanto tempo a chegar?
And next, the Big Bang occurs. And space and chronological time begin, and our dual universe is manifested until today. Here we find once again this remarkable cosmic symbol, the Shiva Lingam. The brothers Bogdanov state, playing, every time that science takes a great step forward, every time that scientists reach that step, the yogi are already there. And the yogis say to them, what took you so long?
É o instante do Mahaom que dará origem a tudo, iniciando a Mahashakti, a grande mãe cósmica criadora, a sua obra, trazendo consigo um reflexo do Purusha e a espiritualidade do ser humano, e revestindo-se em seguida o cosmos das densidades dos 24 Tattva.
It is the moment of the Maha-Om which will create all. Thus, the Mahashakti, the grand cosmic creating mother, begins her work, bringing with her the reflection of Purusha, the spirituality of the human being, and the cosmos is then coated with the density of the 24 Tattva.
Dizem depois os cientistas que as 4 forças universais se separaram, mas na realidade são 2 mais 2. Primeiro a gravidade com os seus gravitões e depois a força eletromagnética com os fotões, as 2 grandes forças de escala cósmica. E as 2 forças subatómicas, a força nuclear forte, cujos gluões mantêm a coesão no interior do núcleo do átomo, e a força nuclear fraca, bosões, uma energia de decaimento das partículas subatómicas.
Then, the scientists say, the 4 universal forces are separated, but in reality they are 2 plus 2 forces. First gravity with its gravitons, and then the electromagnetic force with the photons, the 2 great forces of cosmic scale, and the 2 subatomic forces, the strong nuclear force, which gluons maintain cohesion inside the nucleus of the atom, and the weak nuclear force, bosons, a decaying energy of the subatomical particles.
Mas o que nós dizemos é que é óbvio que os cientistas até agora se esqueceram da 5ª força que está à vista de todos. Aquela para a qual toda a estrutura do universo foi montada, a razão de tudo isto, a 5ª essência, a vida, o reflexo do Purusha em nós. O reflexo do Purusha através da chave numérica do Samkhya das 6 constantes universais. Há milénios que a Índia o sabe e que ainda os ensina. Criam-se as macrolinhas de força do universo e também os bija-jiva, a centelha do espírito de cada ser humano. Tudo o que existe e virá a existir está contido na minúscula semente da dimensão de Planck no instante zero do Big Bang. O Maha-Om é tudo. Nós, todos, estivemos nesse instante dentro da Maha-Vibration. O Maha-Om ainda está dentro de nós e estará para sempre em tudo o que existir. Por isso, fomos e somos, de facto, feitos à divina imagem e semelhança. E por isso somos todos irmãos. Por isso, a vida é divina. Portanto, a vida é sagrada.
But what we say is that it is obvious that the scientists so far have forgotten the fifth force that is in plain sight, that to which all the structure in a universe was assembled for, the reason for everything, the fifth essence, life, and the reflection of Purusha in us. For thousands of years that India knows this, that India teaches us, the reflection of Purusha through the numerical key of the Samkhya, of the 6 universal constants, create the macro lines of life in the future macrocosmos, and also the Bija Jiva, the spiritual spark in each human being. All that exists and all that shall ever exist was contained in that minuscule seed of the Planck's dimension in the instant zero of the Big Bang. The Maha-Om is everything. All of us were present at that instant inside the Maha-Vibration, and the Maha-Om is still inside us and will always be in everything that exists. That is why we are, and we were in fact, made at the divine image and likeness, and that is why we are all brothers. That is why life is divine, and therefore life is sacred.
A grande obra é amor do Criador, é a luz da vida, é sabedoria. O seu oposto é ódio, destruição, treva do ego deformado e da doentia necessidade do domínio, tão em moda na Kali Yuga. Ambos devem se extinguir para sempre.
The great work is love of the divine creator. It is the light of life. It is wisdom. Its opposite is hatred, destruction, darkness. Darkness of the deformed ego and the sick need for domination, so usual in the Kali Yuga. Both should be extincted forever.
Quanto mais nos aproximamos do Criador, mais percebemos a intenção da sua obra. Criar condições para que a vida possa manifestar-se e depois prosperar.
The more we come closer to the Creator, the more we understand the intention in His work, to create conditions for life to manifest itself and then to prosper.
Se observarmos o universo, descobrimos que ele está repleto de água em todas as suas formas. E encontramos esporos da vida por todo o lado no espaço exterior.
If we observe the universe, we find that it is filled with water in all its forms, and we find spores of life everywhere in the outer space.
A criação das condições para que a vida desponte e depois proporcionar tempo suficiente para que ela se torne cada vez mais complexa, até poder compreender o Criador, é claramente um objetivo universal. Basta ver o maravilhoso exemplo do Paris que é Gaia, o planeta Terra.
The creation of the conditions for life to emerge, and then to provide enough time for it to become each time more complex, until it is able to understand the Creator, it is clearly an universal goal. It is enough to see the wonderful example of the heaven, which is Gaia, planet Earth.
Neste conturbado momento temos que ser muito claros. Existem 2 grupos na humanidade. Os que respeitam a obra divina, que são os preservadores da luz da vida, a Índia, nós, vós, etc. E o pequeno e confuso grupo da treva, os destruidores. Quem defende Deus, defende a sua obra. E espantem-se. Todos os livros sagrados, todas as religiões, filosofias e culturas, de facto dizem isso. Portanto, o verdadeiro e único fundamentalismo é o respeito pela vontade do Criador e pela sua clara e constante, construtiva intenção. Ninguém deve ter medo de afirmar isto.
In this troubled moment, we have to be very clear. There are 2 groups in humanity. Those who respect the divine work, who are the keepers of the light of life, India, us, you, etc. And the small and confused group of darkness, the destroyers. Those who defend God, defend His work. And be amazed, all the sacred books of all religions, philosophies and cultures, in fact say that. Therefore, the true and only fundamentalism is the respect for the will of the Creator and for His clear and constantly constructive intention. No one should be afraid to state this.
Então, se hoje só pudesse haver um mandamento, em todas as religiões e filosofias seria ahimsa. Não matar, não destruir, não agredir, preservar a obra de Deus, servir e amar o próximo. Não há melhor forma de honrar o Criador.
Therefore, if today there could be only one commandment in every religion and philosophy, it would be ahimsa, not to kill, not to destroy, not to strike. To preserve God's work, to serve and to love the next. There is no better way to honor the Creator.
Esta é a porta de entrada do grande darshana, o yoga, que nos leva à sua meta, à iluminação, o nirbija samadhi e à libertação do kaivalya mukta. Desde o amar e servir o próximo pelo karma yoga dos yama e niyama até à luz da consciência cósmica que destrói a treva.
This is the gateway of the Grand Darshana, Yoga, which takes us to its goal, the enlightenment of the Nirbija Samadhi and the liberation of the Kaivalya Mukta. From loving and serving the next through Karma Yoga of the Yama and Niyama until the light of cosmic awareness which destroys darkness.
Bharata is the motherland of yoga, do Adiguru Lord Shiva e dos ancestrais Mahaguru, e constitui-se como o grande reservatório da espiritualidade da humanidade e também do divino conhecimento universal.
Bharata is the motherland of yoga, of the Adiguru Lord Shiva and the ancestral Mahaguru. It constitutes itself as humanity's great reservoir of spirituality and also of the divine universal knowledge.
Por isso, para divulgar esses enormes e fundamentais valores, essa grande cultura e esperança, propusemos ao mundo em 2001 a criação do World Yoga Day no solstício de junho 21, um auspício cósmico, o maior dia do ano, o dia da luz que vence a treva. Tudo começou há 14 anos.
Therefore, to spread those huge and fundamental values, that grand and crucial hope, we propose to the world in 2001 the World Yoga Day wide, on the solstice of June the 21st, a cosmic auspice, the longest day of the year, the day of light, which conquers the confusion of darkness. All began 14 years ago.
Todos os Mahaguru da Índia apoiam este Dia Mundial, como é o caso do vosso grande líder, Dr. Pranav Pandya.
All the Mahaguru of India support this World Day, as is the case of the great leader of this institution, Dr. Pranav Pandya.
Assim como o fizeram na grande cimeira de Bengaluru 2011, devem os grandes mestres da Índia e de todo o mundo darem as mãos e exigir das instâncias internacionais, sob a liderança de Bharata, a oficialização do World Yoga Day. Convido-vos a todos vós a fazê-lo também. Em 2012, a Assembleia da República de Portugal, numa inédita resolução, por unanimidade de todos os partidos políticos, apoiou a criação do World Yoga Day.
As they did in the Great Summit of Bengaluru in 2011, the Grand Masters of India and of all the world should join their hands and demand at the international instances under the leadership of Bharata to make official the World Yoga Day. I invite you all to do so. In 2012, the Portuguese Parliament, something never seen before, in an unanimous resolution of all the political parties, supported the creation of the World Yoga Day.
Será agora a vez dos governantes tomarem oficial o primeiro Dia Global da Humanidade junto da ONU e da Unesco. Temos uma imensa esperança na lucidez, sabedoria, determinação e carisma e no imenso trabalho do novo Primeiro-Ministro Narendra Modi, que já apelidamos do Obama II, do belo tigre dourado da Ásia, um autêntico governante da era do aquário.
Now it is the governor's turn to make official the first Global Day of Humanity at the UN and the UNESCO. We have an immense hope in the lucidity, wisdom, determination and charisma, and in the enormous work of the new Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who we already called Obama II, the amazing golden tiger of Asia, a true governor of the age of Aquarius.
E é com grande felicidade que assinalamos a recente intervenção de Sua Excelência Narendra Modi nas Nações Unidas no dia 27 de setembro, anunciando que a Índia, no próximo ano 2015, nos 70 anos da ONU, irá tomar a iniciativa de propor a oficialização do Dia Mundial do Yoga. Desde 2012 que preparamos com Shri Narendra Modi este auspicioso acontecimento.
And it is with great happiness that we highlight the recent intervention of His Excellency Narendra Modi at the United Nations on September the 27th, announcing that India in the next year of 2015, a time when the UN will reach 70 years, will take the initiative to propose there the officialization of the World Yoga Day. Since 2012, that we are preparing with Shri Narendra Modi this auspicious event.
A Declaração de Princípios do World Yoga Day visa levar o autêntico yoga da Índia aos currículos educativos de todos os jovens, de todas as nações em todos os continentes, para reeducar o ser humano, para que o ADN humano se transmute e demonstre ao cosmos a sua viabilidade.
The Declaration of Principles of the World Yoga Day aims to take the true India's yoga to the school education curricula of all the youth, of all the nations, in all the continents, to re-educate the human being so that the human DNA is transmuted and shows the cosmos its viability.
A Índia tem que tomar consciência da sua importância global e da força internacional dos seus valores eternos. A Índia e o seu Yoga Darshana são a única e última esperança da humanidade neste escuro momento.
India must become aware of its global importance and the international force of its eternal values. India and its Yoga Darshana are the only and final hope of humanity in this dark moment.
Que Bharata acenda à luz, uma estrela no coração e na mente de todos os habitantes do planeta, sem nenhuma exceção. A Índia é a superpotência da espiritualidade mundial.
May Bharata turn on the light, a star in the heart and the mind of all the inhabitants of the planet, with no exceptions. India is the superpotency of the world's spirituality.
Para que haja futuro, a vida é sagrada, a vida é divina.
So that there may be a future. Life is sacred, life is divine.
Om Shanti. Gostaria agora de prestar uma breve, mas muito sentida homenagem a um grande mestre do yoga da Índia, um titã do yoga mundial, Shri B.K.S. Iyengarji, mostrando uma foto do seu mais que merecido e muito oportuno doutoramento honoris causa em Yoga pela Universidade de Bengaluru, S.V. este ano 2014, janeiro. Que, de onde esteja, continua a ensinar e a zelar pela humanidade.
I would like to pay a brief but very heartfelt homage to a great yoga master of India and a titan of the world yoga, Shri B.K.S. Iyengarji, by presenting a photo of his more than deserved and very opportune honoris causa D.Litt degree in yoga by the University of Bengaluru, S.V. this year, 2014, in January. May he, from where he is, continues to teach us and to look after humanity.
Om Namah Shivaya.